Hey, my friends, Laura Slynn here. I am coming at you with a quick video today on a topic that I think is really important and certainly something that I've been having a lot of conversations about lately with coaches in our Avalon graduate training community, as well as with colleagues in the coaching space. So I wanted to share it here too. Now, how would you like to be able to spot the potential saboteur in your groups, in your programs? Not even spot them, but spot them and manage them before it manifests as a problem. Okay, that's what this is all about. So what I want to talk to you about is something called the covert saboteur. Okay, now there can be a covert saboteur a person can be a covert saboteur in a one-on-one coaching process, in a group training. There are covert saboteurs in work environments all the time. So if you're watching this thinking, oh my God, I lead a team at work, or I'm part of a team at work and this resonates, now it's happening. So number one, we're not talking about an overt saboteur. I'm talking about the covert saboteur. The overt saboteur is the person who just shows up completely combative, ready to go, super aggressive. They have a problem. They know that they have a problem. They are choosing to make a big deal out of it, taking themselves out and trying to take you out too. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the covert saboteur, where it's far outside of their conscious awareness that they're even doing this. Okay, they believe they're very justified in how it shows up for them. So a covert saboteur, first thing to take note of is, number one, the covert saboteur is not an evil, mean, or nasty person. The covert saboteur is just somebody who's hitting their stuff and it's playing out unconsciously. So it needs to manifest in the real world because they're there to grow. Why does this show up in coaching and in workshop and group training so much? Because people are there to grow. And anytime we put ourselves in the position of being transformed, of extreme personal growth, the covert saboteur can show up, and usually does. I know this can happen in one-on-one coaching. It can happen in groups. And when it does, you really want to be able to spot it and be able to spot it quickly. So what is going on when a person becomes a covert saboteur? All of a sudden, somebody who showed up to do the work with you, who is the most lovely, genuine, kind, loving person, all of a sudden starts to turn, and that starts to shift. So what is going on is they've got everybody, we all have our own self-imposed box. Okay, so we all have our own self-imposed box. This is what I know. It's what I know right now in my life. This is the basis for my life. And if I'm in a coaching program where I'm going to be in a position to grow outside of that, or to have to expand the boundaries of the box, the more I get closer to the edge of that, the more uncomfortable I'm going to be. So when your clients are doing this covert saboteur dance, it's usually when they're this close to breakthrough. And that's what makes it a big pain in the ass too, because they're this close to breakthrough. And that's when they're at the highest risk of sabotaging themselves, of sabotaging the process. And they can take a whole group out with them if it doesn't get dealt with quickly. What happens with the covert saboteur? First, it starts with some drama. And who knows what the drama is going to be about. It could be that they believe that you looked at them funny, or that you were unfair to them. Especially in a group, it shows up as comparison. How come you treat so-and-so differently than you treat me? And it starts out with some level of issue. The next thing that happens, and this is where it gets tricky, is they start to recruit. So in a live training, this happens in the bathroom. In the office, it happens by the water cooler. It's where the water cooler gossip starts. But they start to recruit. So they're hitting their own stuff, unaware that they're hitting their own stuff. And then all of a sudden, they're by the water cooler saying, hey, did you see the way that Laura looked at me? Did you see the tone of voice that so-and-so used? And they start to recruit other people into that story with them. Okay. Now, this can be dangerous because now they're not just taking themselves out, they're taking out other people with them. Recruiting also happens when they post publicly in the group. They post some sort of a complaint, or they ask, hey, did anybody else find that such and such was a difficult concept to grasp, or that such and such was harsh? And then the private messages start happening. So that's how it happens in our online environment, is all through DMs and things like that, or the private chat on your Zoom. So they start to recruit. They're creating a lot of drama. And in our world, drama's just a way of doing trauma. Okay, so when people are doing drama, they're playing out their old trauma. So we want to have some compassion, because again, they're decent, they're all decent people. I've been a covert saboteur before. I've hit that point where I'm convinced I'm right. And you probably have too if you're super honest with yourself. So, what's the third thing that is really going on here is that this is all about power. So, it's a great big power struggle. And it will come across as if it's a power struggle with you, the coach or the facilitator or the boss. But it's not a power struggle with you. It's an internal power struggle that they're dealing with within themselves because their power lies beyond the boundary of that box and they're in a battle to go for it. Why? Because the brain trusts most that which it already knows. Okay, so we are actually not wired as human beings to thrive. We're wired to survive, and whatever survival means to you is the construct that you have for it. So once you get to the edge of that box, oh, we know this, but we don't know what's on the other side of this. So the self-sabotage starts to happen to retreat back inside of what we know. The unconscious mind says, okay, whatever's on the outside of that sounds great, but we don't know that. And we do know this. We do know this. We know what it's like to be broke. We know what it's like to be disempowered or to stay in that crappy relationship. Your clients know what it's like to have that health challenge or to have that problem running in their lives. And as much as it sucks, it's familiar, and familiar equals safety. So we need to teach our clients this piece. So every single coach that comes through any one of our trainings hears us talk about the covert saboteur at the beginning of every training. We never miss it. When I was coaching clients individually, every single client heard this covert saboteur piece, and I drew the box and talked to them about their self-imposed box and said, hey, guess what's going to happen at some point? Even though you love me and think I'm wonderful now, at some point, you're going to get to a point where you might not love me so much. And when that happens, I need you to talk to me about it. And this is why we'll have clients in our trainings all the time be like, hey, Laura, Ernie, like I have this like feeling of anger towards you and I have no idea why. Or you're really reminding me of my mother today. Or like they'll have some awareness when it shows up, which is ultimately what we want. Okay. So we're not looking to eliminate this. We're not looking to eliminate this phenomenon of the covert saboteur. That's impossible. It's going to be there. They will hit it. People will do self-sabotage if they can, and if they don't have the awareness. So we're not looking to eliminate it. We're looking to illuminate it. We just want to shine some awareness on it so that when people are at that point, they can start to articulate, I'm at that point. So what we always say is if you have a problem with someone or something in this training, whether it's the tone of my voice on a video that you watched, or the way that I managed a coaching call, or the typos in the book that we sent you, whatever that is, if you have a problem with someone or something, come and talk to us, right? Share it with your coach, share it with your trainer in the group. Because when you do that, one of two things is going to happen. Number one, if we were wrong or offended you or hurt you in some way, shape, or form, we're absolutely going to apologize. I have no problem being held accountable when I make mistakes, and I'm okay with making mistakes. So you will get a super fast apology if we've done something. And if we haven't and you're just hitting your stuff, then we'll deal with that too. But either way, we need to expose this, and the sooner we can expose it, the better. When you do that, you give people permission to come and approach you and to talk to you about what's going on for them, it almost removes half of the weight of the problem in the first place. The recruiting doesn't happen. And you can pre-frame the recruiting in groups too. We've always done this in groups and saying if somebody is coming to you complaining, blaming, justifying, gossiping, talking about how we looked at them funny or how the course wasn't what they thought it was supposed to be. If they're coming to you and we know that they've watched the video or they've heard us say this, then you know what to say to them. Hey, sounds like you're hitting that covert saboteur stuff. Please go and speak to the trainers. If you don't, I will. Don't allow people to rob you of your own empowerment and sovereign ability to hold your own space in the program. So talk to people about that in the beginning. I always give a few funny examples, sometimes examples of myself, right? But yeah, give some examples, let people know that it's okay. Let people know that these are things that you want them to talk to you about so that you can get to the bottom of it. And understand that it will happen, that when people are growing, in order to get on the other side of whatever is there for them, they're going to come up against this resistance. The covert saboteur is just one of the ways that it plays out. Covert saboteurs are lovely people. um, lovely human beings. They're just hitting their stuff. Okay. Hope that you found this valuable, and please feel free to use this one when you are coaching, training, running workshops with your partner, lover, spouse, with your children, with your colleagues, and your staff at work. This shows up everywhere, so feel free to teach it to all of the people around you. This is one of the things in the coaching world that if we as coaches and facilitators and trainers and mentors did better, we would create much safer spaces for our clients to be able to do the transformation that they pay us for.